Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 96 of the Friday Nightmares podcast. I am one half of your hosting team this evening, coming to you from the town of Swartz Creek in the county of Genesee, in the state of Michigan, in the United States of America, in the North American continent, in the Western Hemisphere, on the planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy. I'm fully vaxxed, boosted, and waxed and ready to climax, and if you can, please get me wet and feed me after midnight. I'm the man with the glorious beard, aka Mother of Cats, aka the man with the humongous ego, aka Scott Housen, aka Scotty Too Hottie, aka Spanky, aka one half of your premium podcasting duo. I am Smoke Show Crawford, and with me as always is
Heather Powell, who has returned from her trip abroad and did not recreate the sequel to As Above, as Below. Or is it As Above or Is Below? What is it?
As Above, So Below.
So Below. Yeah, didn't recreate the sequel to that.
Disappointed. Very, very disappointed.
I know. I didn't even run around yelling baguette, baguette. Like you would be disappointed all around, as you should be.
I just don't know. I can't with this, Heather.
Like, just disappointed, like 2024 has disappointed you. But I'm coming to you today from Watertown, Ontario, Canada. And Scott needs to add something to his intro. Everyone knows by now. It will be old news by the time Scott releases this episode, probably around the time of his actual wedding day. Scott and Erica, his beautiful, lovely fiance. I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying that until I can actually, though I do refer to her as your wifey, but in legal sense, and in God's eyes, Scott, in God's eyes, when you make your union, got engaged.
We sure did, and I'll say everything that could have went wrong for the proposal did go wrong, but it created such a great memory for us. So I'll kind of break down the story here. So what happened was
you were watching Gremlins.
Yep, always. That's on the background at all times, 24/7 around here.
And then you put on Solo, because we're not pussies like horror for dummy. What's it?
Dummies of horror.
Dummies of horror. Yeah. Ooh, guys. Ooh, watch out. Ooh, we watch Solo. Ooh, listeners beware, pussies. Anyway, continue, Scott.
But yeah, so the plan was I was going to buy the engagement ring and do this properly. Well, unfortunately, all three of our cars decided, you know what? We're not going to work around the same time. So we borrowed my stepdad's vehicle, and that worked half the time. So we were just having financial car problems left and right. So I had to postpone on that. But the problem was I had already told the boys that I was planning on proposing to their mother. They didn't know exactly when, they just knew it was coming up soon. So I had to nip this in the bud before they accidentally spoiled it.
Yes,
so for Mother's Day, I ended up getting her this digital picture frame that I uploaded all of our memories that we have created together, all of our photos and stuff like with our pets and our kids and all this. And at the very end, I uploaded a meme that said, "Will you marry me?" Because I did not have the ring, but like I said, wanted to jump on it. Well, that was all going to happen on Mother's Day. Well, Mother's Day got screwed up because her family guilt tripped us into hosting a Mother's Day cookout. So I said, fuck it. We're doing this Saturday. So I got the boys to bring up their gifts for her, their mom, and then I had mine to be opened last. And, she's going through the gifts, and I give her mine, and I have her plug it in and look through all the photos. And the meme is supposed to show up at the very end of all the photos. However, it showed up the second fucking photo.
Aww.
So while Jaden is watching through the photos, he's in the way because where we were all sitting is kind of a narrow spot. So I had to go, move. So I kind of just pushed him out of the way real quick and slid on my one knee. And as I am proposing to her, Jaden starts poking Connor and harassing Connor to the point where Connor starts choking Jaden out behind me. And one of Jaden's defenses is he screams, "He's raping me!" And he's screaming this as I'm proposing to Erica. And so I
feel like this is just teenage boys and your daily life.
Well, that's exactly what I said. I'm like, I embrace all of this chaos and I want to be a part of it. So it ended up being a wonderful memory that we can share.
Does she hesitate? Did she hesitate when she thought about all the movies she's going to have to watch?
No, though I think after this weekend she might.
Was one of the big reasons she said yes is because she automatically gets me as a best friend? Be honest.
I
We
think
think that
so.
was like at least 25% of the reason why she said yes.
I'm thinking so.
She's like, is Heather part of the deal? Can you imagine?
And of course she is.
Of course. I was so, and I'm glad you didn't tell me because I would have been so annoying. And it's none of my, and it's none of your, like, it's your business, right? Like, you have the right to, obviously, that goes without saying, to tell whoever you want. But I missed it the first time, so I got up Mother's Day. I just got back from my flight, and I thought, I'm going to send, because I really do think Erica is a phenomenal mother for so many reasons. I won't go into all them on this podcast, but I will just say Erica is an amazing mother. So I was like, I'm going to send her a Mother's Day message, because I think she's so great. So I send this message, not knowing you guys got proposed the night before, like you proposed to her the night before. I had no idea until I went into our chat group with the guys from Dummies of Horror and Rob the Hump from Slasher Radio. And I was like, wait a minute. It's like processing. And then I had to go back and give another message congratulating her and obviously you on the wonderful news. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I am so excited. We are going to do a Halloween themed wedding in 2025 in October, and we're going to have our guests dressing up in costume. And obviously, you are going to be there. We ain't going to have like no typical bridesmaids stuff like that. She's going to have the boys on her side, and I'm going to have you and my cousin Ron on my side.
You know what's funny? I don't think you ever asked me. I think we just assumed. You were like, so you'll be there. I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, I was like, no. I thought we already talked about this and it was decided.
Well, we did. I did ask you it.
No, I thought we just assumed. I thought you were like, so you'll be in it. I'm like, yes, I will be.
No,
I thought that was.
Like, no, I straight up asked you. Like, I think it was like a couple days later.
Oh, I was like, I thought you knew the answer was yes. Anyway, I already assumed I was in the wedding party, Sky.
Well, I mean, you already knew you were, but it's proper for me to ask.
Right. Well, it's Ron and I I was probably too excited and jet lagged to remember you even asking me. This was a rough coming home. I got kind of sick on the plane back, like tummy sick.
Oh no.
And I had some big digestion issues for the first about 5 days I was home. So I wasn't all with it the first 5 days being back. But man, am I so excited. And I know the boys are going to be on Erica's side, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, now it's going to be really awesome. Like, we've already got the hall picked out. We've already got a photographer picked out. We got DJs picked out.
I got my hotel picked out to get drunk in.
Yep.
Priorities, Scott. Priorities.
Exactly.
DJ, I got to figure out where I'm going to drink. I'm like, okay, there's an Applebee's nearby. I can go there.
Oh, well, we're gonna have alcohol.
Oh, I know. I mean, like Friday night.
Fair.
Scott. It's not just Saturday. It will be a whole weekend. And there's some Canadians coming, not just me.
Yep.
So I'm very excited for that too. I'm so excited for you too. And it's nice to formalize it. Even though the commitment was always there, it is nice to formalize it.
Yep, because I was gonna say, like, funny thing is, she was the entire week before the proposal. Friends of hers and coworkers of hers he hasn't proposed to you yet? We thought you guys were already engaged. And she's telling me this, and I'm just sitting here biting my tongue like, coming up.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'll say what I ended up telling her was, because I was like, well, you already know I'm going to, but I just want to make sure you are surprised and don't know when it's going to happen.
Well, you did surprise her. You definitely threw her off. And do you know that we FaceTimed and judged you on it? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure.
She did FaceTime me then. She did FaceTime me.
Oh, did she really?
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Scott, we have our own relationship. Just
I know.
So you know. Yeah, she's really excited, as she should be. This is such a special time. You know, the whole time leading up to it, where it's going to be great making her watch all these shitty horror films. And basically, I hope you write that in your vows that as being married to a premium professional podcaster, she must engage in watching the finest that Tubi has to offer.
All for our dozens of listeners.
Dozens and dozens of listeners. We have more than that, Scott. We have at least like 100. Okay.
I think it's just the same dozen listening over and over again.
Maybe it's just us downloading it over and over again at this point. Oh man. But no, this is fab news. And I just want to reinforce again, the most important thing of all this is that I was right.
Yes, you were.
I called it at the beginning. Scott insisted he would not be engaged anywhere before 2 years of their courtship, and I insisted that they would be. And how long have you and Erica been together when you popped the question?
A year.
A year? No.
It was a year and 5 months.
It's almost a year and a half. Well, we'll round it up to a year and a half.
Yeah.
You live together. That already adds on time, Scott.
True. I know.
So
crazy to think that in another month they will have been here a year.
You know, and it's been a quick year.
Yeah, it really has.
Right? And your life has, like, I was thinking about that in the shower. I know that sounds really creepy to say. I was thinking about you and your family in the shower. But as I was showering, getting ready for this session today, like it's a therapy session. It's a therapy session about 2024 horror films. I was thinking, holy fuck, Scott's life has changed. Like, what a journey from when we first started this to now. Like, if people started listening, like, I don't know what's more interesting, the movies or your dating life and where you are today. I've got to think of they're like tied.
I mean, some of the dating stories I've probably shared are probably more scary and horror filled than the horror films.
Word. So I'm gonna spice it up a little bit now that we've finished talking about Scott and his life. I'm gonna talk about some of the cool things I did in England and France quickly. Yep, because you know, I don't want to save it to the end in this Babylon when we're tired. We got a lot of fucking movies. I had to add another one that I forgot that I watched, so that should be fun when I get to that one. Yeah, I'll have to read the fucking Wikipedia notes. But anyway, so as we all know, I am very, very privileged, and I traveled over to the UK. And
here we go.
I know. But there's a couple things I need to shout out. One is the Rested Ghoul Cafe that is located in Gateshead, England. For anyone who plans on visiting, it is on the opposite side of Newcastle. You just kind of Google it and you can find it. And this is run by a lovely couple who also had a goth-themed wedding that I got to see their pictures of, which was lovely.
Nice.
And what was... So goth theme wedding, they have like Chucky. They also had a Gizmo. They had what else did they have? They had like a Pinhead. They have Freddy Krueger sitting in a chair while he's like having a coffee kind of thing on the as like in the front window. So it's a horror themed cafe. And they do like the typical latte stuff like that. They're trying to get their liquor license, but they do things like a singles night for horror fans.
Oh, so that's cool.
Isn't that fun? And they've done some drag shows. They've done some night markets where they have people that make horror stuff and sell it. I bought a couple of things from them. There was a bracelet and I bought a little picture. The lady there embroiders. So she embroidered a skull. And it's really, really badass that I have. So they are located in Gateshead, England. Please, please, please go visit if you get a chance to. They have awesome taste in music, and it's a lot of fun. Like it's for realsies. You can find them on Facebook. I'll share a link in the page. And if you're anywhere in the UK, please go support them. Small business matters, and they are totally dedicated to the horror theme life. So we went there several times and played a couple of horror trivia games while we were there, which were really cool. So that was the one thing. The second thing is I saw an adaptation of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. And it was have you read the book? I feel like you would have read the book.
No, I actually have the audiobook because I do plan on listening to it at some point.
So when you do listen to it, this play took the part where they're on the ship. And the gentleman who created Frankenstein is confronted by the ship's captain. They're out in the ice somewhere. I think it's towards the end of the book. And it was two actors. So they were playing a couple that's expecting a baby. And they were flashing back and forth between different roles. So they would be themselves and then like a set change in the sense of like lights flashing and stuff like that would occur. and they would change into being the captain and Victor Frankenstein.
Oh,
And
nice.
it was fucking incredible, Scott. Like I couldn't even look away. These two actors were so impressive, and basically also ballet dancers, very physically fit. They were holding each other up in the air in these crazy positions, and basically it was kind of an analogy to Frankenstein being dehumanized, much to as they're going through the challenges of having this baby, there's a homeless character that they refer to that's dehumanized as well. So it was a metaphor to many, many, many things. People going
Nice.
through change, having a baby, and the idea of creating Frankenstein, and then the idea of dehumanization of someone because they don't fit a mold. It was very, very moving, actually. So that was seen at something called the Northern Stage, which is located in Newcastle. So I encourage anyone to check out plays there. They're quite good. Trying to think. I saw the first Omen in the movie theaters there, which we'll get to later, which was interesting. I'll definitely give my friend Mark's takes on it because I think you and him will have very similar views. I know you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but when you do, I think you will be on the same page as him on some
Okay.
thoughts on it. And let's see here. That was horror related. And I guess finally would be we did a dark history tour of France or Paris, I should say. So we went to downtown, I guess you could say downtown Paris, or like where the Louvre is, and Notre Dame. Saw Notre Dame, which is still under construction. Let me tell you, it's
Oh, yeah. I
incredibly
forgot about all that.
right. So like Paris is breathtaking. I don't know if that's something for you and Erica in the future when the boys are older, but to go, it is incredible. Like it is just the history, everything else. So this dark history tour was quite interesting. Talked about France's very dark history with like executions in the public squares and how gruesome they were, like basically torturous, and how they have their own version of a Sweeney Todd story. And probably the funniest thing is, so the gentleman that was doing the tour had lived in Vancouver for a little bit and had gone to film school. So of course I started asking him about like Martyrs and like Raw and all these French horror films, which he knew all about, by the way, and we talked about
Nice.
together. So that was pretty cool. So as always, a very good visit. Unfortunately, couldn't get into the catacombs; they were sold out. So anyone who's going,
Oh,
yeah, they only open the tickets a week in advance. And I didn't realize this, but we were there on a European holiday. So of
of
course,
course.
right, everybody and their mom was there. So the tickets were sold out. So unfortunately, we were not able to get tickets for that. So it
That's why
was
you couldn't reenact As Above, So Below. Damn it.
right.
Okay.
I couldn't run around doing found footage stuff, right? So it was very fun, but definitely I really wanted to highlight the Rested Ghoul. I think that they're doing a great job of having this complete horror theme cafe. They're true horror lovers, this couple that runs it, and I definitely want to see them succeed. So I will be bringing them back some of my trivia games when I go back to visit to donate to the cause. But I just, I don't know if we have anyone listening in England or if anyone's traveling over there anytime soon. I do recommend checking it out if you're in the area. It's a lot of fun. So that was basically my trip in a nutshell. And then I had Upset Tum Tum coming home. I was sick for like 4 or 5 days. And I think I just like my eating schedule was so thrown off because it's 5 hours behind. And then I'm traveling back here to being 5 hours ahead.
Right.
And I just got fucked up. I think I just got upset tum tum and just was not in a good place. But I have recovered. I have made it through. Scott's and Erica's love is the thing that has inspired me. 2024 horror films, which I did watch a couple of these with my friend Mark when I was over there.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'll be able to give his thoughts. Actually, the first one, him and I did watch together, and I was super pumped about this. I'll let you lead it in because I'll talk about the next one, but
All
he
right.
enjoyed it quite a bit.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so yeah, let me bring up the synopsis real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had it already.
I should have been, but we were talking. Okay, so the first one on the list is another child of David Cronenberg, and it's his daughter, Caitlin Cronenberg's first directorial debut.
Hmm.
It's called Humane. Dying makes all the difference in the world. In the wake of an environmental collapse that has forced humanity to shed 20% of its population, a family dinner erupts into chaos when a father's plan to enlist in the government's new euthanasia program goes horribly awry. So yeah, I watched this one while you were gone, because I had been hearing about it, and if it's a family member of Cronenberg, I gotta fucking check it out because I know it's gonna be at least interesting. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, while different than her father and her brother, this was still a really good movie because she didn't really
Mm-hmm.
dive into the body horror like those two do. Hers
No.
was definitely more socio-political and
Mm-hmm.
had a little more comedy to it. And I just thought this was a really fun movie. Like I had so much fun watching it. And when I seen this, I'm going, yeah, Heather is gonna love this. I gotta let her know about it. But I found like all the characters are very unlikable for the most part, besides one,
Mm-hmm.
and because they're like basically a family of spoiled rich kids that their father was a governor at one point or worked for the government at one point, and they're all like just kind of ego driven and but yeah, like the story behind this and them getting going through this situation was very entertaining to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm,
Yeah, I thought this was a perfect runtime too at 93 minutes. Like I
yeah,
thought it was perfectly done. This was all filmed in Hamilton, Ontario. I knew the house that it was filmed at, which killed me. Um, it's actually one of the bigger homes in this area. But I agree with everything you're saying, Scotty. I think where she differs is I think all three of them are social political, but I think she's more of the dark comedy with it,
yes,
right? Does that makes any sense? I wouldn't say that the other two are funny in their movies. Like maybe there's humorous parts, but it's not meant to be funny. Like parts of this film was meant to be funny, right? Like it definitely kind of promoted to a certain kind of sense of humor. I know my friend Mark really enjoyed it as well. He thought it same thing, well acted, well filmed, good plot line, endearing characters, did what it was supposed to do in the time frame that it was presented. I'm a Cronenberg fan now of all of them. I think they're all
yeah,
great.
yeah. They all
Right?
have their own unique specialties, and yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing what her sophomore effort will be, and I'm obviously can't wait to see what Brandon Cronenberg does next. And I do hear rumors that David Cronenberg has got another movie coming out too, so I'm very curious to see what that is.
Nice. Well, this has a variety of ratings. Matt Wood gave it 3.5 stars. You've given it 4. I'm giving it 5. It spoke the Heather language. Like this
Yeah,
was this was a Heather film written all over it. And I love the fact that majority of the cast was Canadian. Well-known Canadian actors too. Some people might know who I'll never say his name completely right. Jay Baruchel
yeah,
is
Baruchel. Yeah, because he worked with like
Baruchel.
Seth Rogen and stuff like that in a
Yeah,
lot of their comedies.
very well known Canadian actor. So I was really happy to see him. I think he's quite good. Emily Hampshire is quite good as well. And so is Alana Bales. I've seen her in other stuff too. So it was nice to see some recognizable faces in this. And I thought the guy that played, we'll say the antagonist, was excellent.
Yes,
Um, very,
he was
very
great.
good. And yeah, this is a great film. I definitely recommend it. I don't know. I have nothing but praise for this. Even if like it's not so socially political that you're gonna roll your eyes and be like, oh no, you're gonna probably be like, this might happen one day. Like it's not. I don't think it sits on either side. To be honest with you, I think it just says that we're in a situation where our planet is becoming overpopulated, and we are, in a global warming crisis. That's a real thing. No
Hmm.
matter what political leaning you have, the earth is the earth and there's some fucking problems. So I think this is pretty palatable to all political sides.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and
What do you think?
I think it's definitely very palatable, and it's a good, like I would say, almost introduction to people that are not big into horror. This is definitely more
Mm,
digestible for the mainstream because, for one, it's not over the top, violent and gory. Like it's done with restraint,
yeah,
and I think it works in its favor for that.
that's a really good point. Yeah, so if people want to check it out, it is available to rent on all the streaming services. I would say it's worth whatever amount of money you want to pay. Like if you're interested in this and it's $5.99, I think $5.99 is worth it. The only thing that's different in Canada, it's available on Cineplex, but we're talking YouTube, Google, I think Amazon on here as well. It's available kind of wherever you would rent a film, and I don't know, I think it's worth the rental.
Yeah, I'll say yeah, worth whatever you pay for this one because it could be I know for sure it'll probably be in your top 10, but it could definitely end up in mine.
Oh, well, that's good to know. It's good that you're finally getting some better taste in films. Must be now that you're engaged. Scott and I, this is also the first show where Scott unfortunately has had some technical issues this week. He's had a bamboozle of a week and I
Yeah, on
can't
my
see him.
vacation.
Yeah, I can't see him. So we've never recorded, like, this is like Love is Blind, only his podcasting is blind. And I can't see his reactions. So he could be like giving me the finger the entire time.
I'm doing it right now.
I deserve it though. That's fair. That's fair. And I'm really looking forward to hearing Scott's thoughts on this one when he gets around to it. So the next one we're going to talk about is The First Omen. This is a 119-minute runtime. So
Oh
pack
my
your
gosh.
patience. Yeah, pack your patience. It's a long one. Create something to fear. When a young American woman is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, she encounters a darkness that causes her to question her own faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. Now, we all, anyone who's seen The Omen can kind of guess what's going to happen at the end. And I think prequels like this are hard to do for that reason. Like, what's going to happen.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
at the end, Damien's going to exist, right? Like, we all know Damien's going to be there because that's why you have, how many sequels of The Omen are there? Like 4?
I think there's 4, and then a remake.
Right? And a remake. So we know he shows up. So already, when you're coming into a film like this, it's already a spoiler. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're going, right? You know what's going to happen, but you're watching it to see how does it happen, right? So it's a very interesting story. They do take a different route slightly that maybe traditionalists might have a problem with. We have some pretty big names in this. Bill Nighy is probably one of the biggest names that you'll see. He is in this film, right? And he plays it very serious. So I know my friend Mark is a big fan of his and laughed when he came on the screen, to which I gave him a very dirty look in the movie theater because I'm like, this isn't a comedy. There's nothing about this scene that is funny. No part of this is funny at all. I found it enjoyable. I preferred the approach they took to this. I thought it was filmed well. I thought the character development was good. I thought the storyline of how Damien came to be made a lot of sense. This is, though, religious pregnancy horror, right?
Yeah.
This is going to fall into that pregnant nun territory, which we tend to be seeing more and more of. Which is, I don't know why the inspiration for this movie came, is because they were like, oh shit, there's a lot of pregnant nuns in religion and shit. Let's do that.
I am kind of curious on how.
Right. So it is, where Immaculate was more, it's not like Immaculate, I'll tell you that much. This is more based in faith, the belief that Satan and the devil, or Satan, is real, and that, forces exist beyond our control. So this is very, very, very heavily faithed. A lot of people have at least enjoyed it. Dave Bailey's given it 3 stars. Duncan Malicia's given it 3 stars. I would probably sit around 3.5 stars too. I think it's pretty good. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think it will be on anywhere near my top 10 or top 20, to be honest with you, but I don't think it's a bad film.
Okay.
I do think for a theatrical release, it's worth it. Pregnancy nun horror just don't do it for me. And it's hard when I know what the outcome's going to be. For me personally, I'm like, well, I know what's going to happen. No matter what, I know what's going to happen. Right? So I look forward to hearing your thoughts when you see it.
Yeah, I was saying I look forward to it because I know Erica is a huge fan of the Omen series, so I think she will. I know she is excited to see this, but we shall see, because our track record with movies that we've both been excited about by watching trailers has not been the best, so to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't say be too excited. Go in with average expectations.
Okay.
Go in with, we'll see how this goes. It's pregnancy religious horror. So there's going to be lots of tropes.
Right. Okay, good to know.
Right, and a lot of jump scares.
And yeah, because this is still only in theaters at the moment, or
it's
not available yet. Yeah, it's nowhere to rent or anything yet.
So I guess we're waiting. So stay tuned. It will eventually be available on VOD. I don't think this is going to go to Shudder or anything like that. Typically, well, unless it's like something like Late Night with the Devil and it has a short theatrical run, it will go to Shudder. But I can't see this going to Shudder. So I have a feeling it will just be on demand to rent.
Yeah.
So if it's something that sounds like you would like it, for all our listeners out there, then check it out. If pregnancy non-horror is not for you and you don't really want to watch it because you know what the outcome's going to be, then skip it. I don't think it's going to ruin your life, but if it sounds like something that's good for you, check it out. You haven't seen the next one. I slipped this in here.
Yeah, this is one I was trying to get to this weekend, but just did not get a chance to.
So this was a French film, and we all know how French do it.
Oh, oui.
Infested. And this is a 106-minute runtime. Residents of a rundown French apartment building battle against an army of deadly, rapidly reproducing spiders. So first off, let me say that there's Paris, and then there's outside of Paris. And outside of Paris looks just like this. Like any big city does, you have your areas of poverty.
Yeah.
And as I was on the train coming back from the Charles de Gaulle airport, which is about a 50-minute non-express, 20-minute express, I could see the apartment buildings and areas that looked very similar to this.
Oh, okay.
So, yes, very much this is a representation of poor parts of the country. So I will give them credit for that, because I think that's important to acknowledge that sometimes we see things, especially if we're on other countries and we're like, oh, does it really look like that? Yeah, like it does. This is definitely a representation of a marginalized area. So this is a really interesting film. What you see is what you get here. It's about fucking spiders, fucking shit up. There's another spider movie that we'll get to. I actually prefer this one.
Okay.
I think this one took itself more seriously and was darker, to be honest. I thought the special effects in this one were more reasonable because it focuses more in reality.
Right.
So basically a deadly species is introduced at a pet store, and this guy brings it home, not knowing what he brought into the house, which could happen. Like that to me could happen. Now, would it multiply to the extent that it does in this movie? Probably not. But I thought it was really well done. It moves quick. What you see is what you get here. It's basically spiders fucking people up for whatever period of time. It's subtitled only, so you are having to watch it to pay attention. And there is like a lot of references to I want to say France subculture, right? So there's certain things that I went over my head, but obviously if you were in France watching this, I think you would get it a little bit more, kind of like same thing with us. You know what this is going to happen though? This is going to become an American remake if it really picks off. Like if this was released in theaters, like kind of how we have the remake of the good Danish movie that came out.
Oh, God,
about the families. Yeah. Like now, have you seen the preview for that? It made me mad.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing.
I'm so angry because I'm like, this is going to be a piece of shit compared to the fucking original.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just, anyway. So, and I shouldn't always feel that way. Sometimes remakes are good, but I just feel like there's certain, it's like remaking Train to Busan. I really don't think you can give a justified remake to Train to Busan.
And they're doing it.
I know. So I recommend this on Shudder. I think it's one of the better releases on Shudder. I think it's simple. You get what you get. It's in and out, but it's good. It's entertaining. It's quick. And I think the spiders are creepy. And I think what happens is fucking emotional. So Tim Davis has given it 3 stars. Did you read his review?
I was just going to say, I pulled up his review in case you didn't.
You want to read it? Go ahead.
All right. So Tim Davis, he gave it a 3.5 stars. And he goes, this is just a normal day in Australia, which is fucking accurate.
Hilarious, right? I know Matt Wood enjoyed this as well.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So he said, enjoyed this French spider movie. Decent characters that you can get behind. I agree. Decent setup. The spiders look good. Absolutely. Plenty of tension throughout. Full of spiders-based potholes, but we can let those go. Fucking potholes. You and Matt Wood and Erica. Holy shit. It's a movie about deadly spiders that overtake an apartment building. None of this can happen in real life to that extent, you silly, silly people.
Well, when it's taken seriously, that's where, I can poke holes in it. But we'll talk about the other spider movie later and how I kind of ignore plot holes in that.
Well, I think that one's a little more silly. This one definitely, I think, is more serious. So if you got Shudder, I suggest watching it. I think it's worth it. I don't see anything here below a 3.5 star rating. I see lots of 4s. So that tells me that it's good. 3.5 and above, it's worth your time. I don't think this will be on my top 10, but I think if we did a creature feature award or something like that, or nature is scary or something like that, this would definitely be on there for me. I think it was really, really well done. So anyone who has a Shuddy or AMC Plus, check it out.
All right, yeah, because this is one, like I said, I wanted to watch it this weekend, just did not get around to it. But yeah,
Watch it with Erica. Like you two should watch it at some point together. I
I'm
do
kind of
recommend that.
curious. Yeah, I'll say I'm kind of curious to see like if she has different opinions about that one compared to the other one. But yeah, we'll jump into the next one for right now, and that is Something in the Water, a 86-minute runtime with a synopsis of fear finds new depths. Reunited at an exotic destination wedding, five girlfriends decide to rent a boat to spend a day together along the paradise-like coast. Their friendship is put to the ultimate test when they find themselves stranded in open water, fighting for their lives against sharks and Mother Nature as they desperately try to survive. Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah, I made my friend Mark watch this one.
Good God, this. So, have you watched a shark movie in the last 5 years? Then you've seen this fucking movie. Starts off with main character having some sort of trauma. Main character after trauma heals, meets up with friends, does stupid thing and gets stuck on an island or stuck in the water. Barely any sharks, but there's a shark. But you barely see the shark. People are stupid. They die. The end.
I'm still confused what happened to one character.
The one in the life jacket?
Yes. Like, I don't get that. Did they just take off
They,
their life jacket and put it
yep.
on somebody else and then
Mm-hmm.
just let them? But why? Were they dying?
I think it's because the spoiler alert for anybody that wants to watch this movie, buddy. I think it's because
we're talking pretty cryptic.
yeah, but I'll say this character was getting exhausted from swimming, so
Okay.
since she was the swimmer, the one that couldn't swim,
Right.
put the life jacket on her to save her.
Okay.
But
So you think she just let herself drown?
yes, because she wanted to
Okay.
like save the other one. But
Okay.
yeah, this was dumb. I didn't like any of the characters, and it was so beat for beat like every shark movie in the last 5 to 10 years. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I probably didn't hate it as much as you because this was a casual, like before we were going out drinking on a Saturday, we watched this to just like kill some time in the afternoon, right? It was simple. I kind of tuned into it being like this is going to be simple. Did I think it was a great shark movie? No. Was there so many plot holes that it hurt? Yes. Did I feel bad for them? Yeah, I did. I guess I was kind of invested at the beginning, and then as time went on, I was like, now this is getting more and more dumb. Like, why has no one gone out to look for them yet? Like, they were supposed to be back for an event.
A very serious event that a lot of people would be looking for them.
And was supposed to be back even before that event, like, had plans at, like, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And this place they went to wasn't too far from the place that they were at to begin with.
Right.
I don't know how Coast Guard or rescue was not sent out because it seems like they were out there for 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the vibe I got, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how I felt too. And it just yeah. Don't waste your time, people.
Yeah, it was great for mind-numbing stupidness. But I wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you got to go out and watch it. I think Tim said it perfectly. Like, who rents a boat when they're all hungover? I'm like, right. That's a valid point, right? But I feel like they saw like 47 meters down and then the sequel, which has to do with young ladies that go cave diving, and thought they would do something but only a little bit different, but not as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And
Tim gave it 1.5 stars. Did you see it? Sorry, go ahead. I'll let you finish. We'll read
I'll say, this movie annoyed me, and yeah, I'm completely 100% with Tim on this one because I'm looking at his review as well.
So another cliche, predictable shark film. I said the same thing you did. Identical story about a group of friends who start the film by partying. Then one of the friends thinks it'd be a great idea to go out on a boat. Yeah, honestly, that wasn't even my butt beef with it. I didn't care about that part. I was into it. I'm like, yeah, sure. A bunch of chicks get drunk. Whatever. Next day they want to go on a boat. Sure. All right. Something happens. Okay. And they got to get back. Okay. Sure. Okay. Something else happens. Okay. Sure. And then it just got weird. Like the way that they handled the whole situation, and like no one had fresh water for like 4 days, but yet no one died. I don't know. There was just certain things like, I don't know.
See, See, you found plot holes. Plot holes, Heather, right there.
Yeah, but I guess. Yeah. But like, I'm not a negative Nelly hating it like you guys are. I'm just like, meh. You know why? Because I've been hurt so many times, Scott, that I
It's because
just
you're gaslit. We know this.
gaslit by 2024. So, so you can see we all have raving reviews of this film. So I don't know, unless you like, I don't know, really enjoy looking at ocean
Yeah.
and
And occasional shark fin and maybe like a
some
quick glimpse of a shark.
good looking ladies. Like they were attractive, all of them. I don't know. Like if you're into that for like watching people in their bathing suits for for a couple of minutes, I guess you could watch this film. It's available on Apple TV. Oh, Dave Bailey, no, you don't want to watch this fucking shit. No, Dave, we just saved you a whole bunch of time.
Yeah, don't
It's
do
okay. No, Dave, no, go watch Skinamarink again or something else. What was the other one he liked? He liked that floor one.
Ennisman.
And yeah, go watch that again near Flowers, Dave. All right, so and Matt Wood, don't watch it. No, Matt, bad Matt, don't watch it, Matt. Bad Matt. No,
You know he's going to now because you told him not to.
I know he's like, and it's gonna be my #1 film of the year, Heather. It's on Apple TV, Google Play, Vudu, YouTube, and Amazon. But I don't know. Scott and I don't really recommend it, but if you really want to rent it, I'm sure you can find it there for like $10.99. It's always the shittiest movies that have the highest rental price. So,
and just here is my quick sentence for you for my review. Dumb movie is dumb. Avoid.
Dumb movie is dumb. Avoid. Have you ever noticed that some of the most expensive movies are the shittiest?
Uh-huh. That's how it always goes.
Right? I think it's because they're so shitty they can't get picked up by like any streaming service.
Or it's because like they have like more money than they know what to do with and they actually don't use it properly.
Yeah, this definitely had some money to it, this one. Yeah, well. There you go. You can't win them all, can you, Scotty?
Oh, you sure as hell can't.
So I watched this one a long time ago before I went away, and I was away for 2 weeks, and I've been back for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't even remember what you said about this one, so I'm kind of curious.
Yeah. Luckily it's all coming back to me now.
When I watch you, it's all coming back to me now.
When I watch the movie like this, when there's plot holes like that. Anyway, The Cuckoo's Curse. This is a 99-minute runtime, and its tagline is "Be careful who enters your nest." Sorry,
oh boy,
that's a dumb tagline. Two couples, Mark and Anne from Spain, and Hans and Olga from Germany. Like, can we talk about more fucking like?
I was just gonna say
traditional names.
Wow, stereotypical names right there.
Wow. From Germany, swap their homes for a vacation. This is pregnancy horror again. I'm just gonna let everybody know. This has to do with pregnancy horror. And the lengths you will go to have a child of your own.
I can see where this is going.
With swappy Airbnb horror. It's like, remember, sorry, go ahead.
This sounds like a winner.
So remember that movie Holiday where Cameron Diaz and I don't know that other chick swap places for a holiday? It was like this romantic comedy that came out years ago. And I remember thinking how stupid it was. Well, they've done the same thing, only made it a horror movie with a pregnant person.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's like the same thing. So it has a really popular rating, though mind you, no one else has watched it but me. Let me know. I will say it was well made. Okay, I will say it's a well made, well constructed film. And for some people, this may do it for them. Like they build tension, they build suspense. It's not a poorly made film. It's just I found the concept annoying. And maybe that was more my own personal preference. Like I didn't love it. Like I can remember scenes of it that were shocking. And the third act was quite intense. But you knew what was going to happen the entire time because we've seen this before, right? Like, and it's just another, I want a baby. She has a baby. Like, I know I'm giving a lot away, but I don't feel like many people are going to watch it because it's literally available on one streaming service, which is called VIX.
Huh.
I don't even know what that is. It's part of the United States.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Right. So I watched the screener, obviously. So I don't know if it's going to be dropped anywhere else. I don't know. Rob Humphrey's probably like, it's my #1 film of the year. Well, Rob, That
Well, you
makes sense.
better check to make sure it's even 2024
Oh
for
no, it's
Rob.
2023. So he would be like, at
Yeah.
2023, and it only played in one movie theater in Spain. So that makes it a 2023. That's Rob. That Rob's on the show right now, everybody.
Rob,
I hope you
I didn't
enjoyed.
know you were here.
My name's Rob. I don't like Final Destination, and I don't like anything that brings joy. Though I do love that he loves Shape Out of Water. Like, who would have thought that? Who would have thought such angry little man would love
Shape
Shape
of
Out of
Water.
Sorry, Shape of Water. Sorry, Shape of Water. I've never even seen it. Have you?
Oh, it's a beautiful movie.
Oh, did it make you cry?
No, I mean like just it's the way it's shot and everything is gorgeous and it's
Oh.
well done. It's Guillermo del Toro, so I mean it's a really good movie. And
Is it like a horror movie?
we would count it as romantic horror just because of like
Okay.
it's unlike Tim Davis who screams to the top of his lungs, it's not a horror film. It's a love story about the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's only horror movie nerds would watch it.
True. That's why I haven't watched it, because I'm a premium podcaster and that's below me. I watch good movies like The Cuckoo's Curse.
Oh, you just signed your death warrant with Rob.
I know. He's like, and isn't he coming to your wedding?
I don't know. I invited him, but I don't know if he accepted or not yet, or even seen
See
it.
you there, Rob. See you there. Here's your chance, Rob, to get all that revenge that you've been holding in. Come to Scott's wedding, get revenge. Oh, then we can make like a wedding horror film. That's never been done before, right, Scott?
No, not at all.
Never. Super original.
We didn't even cover a wedding theme at all in this show.
Never,
No.
ever. Honestly, if we were still doing themes, I'd be like, let's do pregnancy horror in churches, pregnancy horror with couples. Like, honestly, there's so much pregnancy horror now. It's every time I turn on a movie and I'm like, of course, their main character's pregnant.
Right.
Here we fucking go. And like when Swallow came out, I was like, fuck yeah, this is unique. This is cool. I really dig this. And now everyone's just jumping on the knocked up bandwagon.
How it usually goes, though.
Right. Anyway, Cuckoo's Nest is on this weird channel called VIX. I don't even know how to say that. VEC? I don't know. VIX. So if you're interested, it's there. So go check it out if you want to watch Airbnb swapping with pregnant people gone bad. That's the way I can explain it.
So thrilling.
Oh, wait, you haven't seen this one either, have you?
No, I don't even know what this one is.
Oh, this was a Tubi film, Scotty.
Oh, okay. This is the one okay. I forgot the title
I'm disappointed in you.
Well, to be fair, I haven't scoured the depths of Tubi in a little while.
Okay, I'll let this pass this one time, but I'll jump right into it. So this never happened, just like this conversation never happened.
I wish the next movie never happened. We'll get to that.
I wish the most of 2024 never happened. We're just talking about something that we wish never happened. This is a 90-minute runtime. While staying at her boyfriend's childhood home with him and his friends, a young woman experienced terrifying versions of a violent spirit. First of all, everyone in this movie is a fucking supermodel. So if you're looking for like the fittest, most good-looking young people you could ever find, this is the movie for you. Because
hell yeah!
They definitely look like they showed up from GQ. You know what I mean? In Cosmopolitan, and they're like, "All right, we're here for the movie shoot." There's only one person that's watched this. Who is it? Tim Walker, who's given it 2 stars. I think that's pretty fair. So this is a story about a woman who can see the dead, Sixth Sense style. And she goes with her boyfriend to this house to see his friends because somebody's died, and they're there at his childhood home to go to someone else's funeral, and then he has all his friends over for a party. And things start to happen.
Oh boy.
So this is like a group of friends did something they shouldn't have done many years ago, revenge film.
Okay.
I will say the third act was good. I really did enjoy it. It did pick up. It caught my attention. But the first 2 acts were grueling to get through.
Oh.
They were generally speaking quite boring. A lot of unnecessary talking, a lot of unnecessary plot, like what they thought was plot development, but it was just stupid interactions with people. I would say the third act is where things really ramped up, and it got better. But it's a Tubi watch. You know, if you're bored and you're looking for something to kind of throw on and you like the whole kind of, 1990s group of friends do something bad and then have to pay for it down the road, you may like this film. and it's available for free on Tubi. I don't recommend renting it anywhere else. Let's see, is it available for rent? Nope, it's just available on Tubi. So if you're looking for something to watch on Tubi, it is entertaining enough, but I would probably sit it at 2.5 to 3 stars. Actually, no, 2.5 stars. Like, it's just a basic plot device, but sometimes that's all you want, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're just like, put on basic comfort. I know what you did last summer, but not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the same kind of premise of people doing something and then secrets being unrevealed or revealed.
Yeah, because this one may just be something I can throw on at work when I'm just bored.
It absolutely could. So if you need to add it to your count, you can go and do that.
I will, because, boy, my count is not that great right now. I just hit 50 movies yesterday.
Oh, not me. I'm at, hold on,
You're at like 70 probably.
72.
Yep, knew it.
Well, I am a premium podcaster and very, very professional. I fuck up movie titles. I'm so professional. I don't even know what shit is anymore.
And me, I am a premium podcaster because I only watch quality.
Absolutely.
Like
this next
film.
one.
Yep, like this next film. All right, so the next film is Bloodline Killer. Thankfully, only a 90-minute runtime. Synopsis is Moira Cole endeavors to rebuild her shattered life after her family's murder at the hands of her deranged and obsessed cousin. So yeah, I watched this the week you were gone. I don't remember a goddamn thing about this movie. Not a single flippin' thing, to the point where, yep, this literally is just a 2.5 star. It is very forgettable. I can't tell you about the kills. I can't even tell you about the acting. I literally don't remember anything about this.
Well, I can, because I didn't listen to Scott and I watched it. I forgot that he told me not to watch it. And I put it on and I messaged and said, "Oh my God, I'm watching this horrible fucking movie, Bloodline Killer." He's like, "Yeah, I told you about it. You shouldn't, like, I told you it wasn't good." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, here I am now." Almost. And these two brothers made it. So these two brothers make it. And basically how it starts is their dad is killed Halloween night. Their dad loves Halloween. He dresses up as a vampire.
Ah, yep.
Some guy in a skull mask shows up and slits his dad's throat. And the mom comes out and shoots the skull mask guy, but doesn't kill him because, and I'm giving spoilers here because we don't recommend anybody watch this. And the skull guy's sister finds him. She happens to be a nurse. Takes him to the hospital in the morgue, leaves him in the morgue for a year, and nurses him back to health. That's right. That's the plot line of the story. And the one brother can't get past the fact that his dad died, and the other brother, who I assume are the two brothers that made this film,
probably,
right, is trying to move on. And the mother is the most over actor that I've ever seen before in my life. Like, she's been in all the Saw movies, and I think she played Amanda in the Saw films. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes, she did.
Yes, she did. And
yeah, Smith.
I am not a fan of that character in the Saw films. I'm already a very middle of the road Saw fan, and I'm not a big fan of her. So I found her as equally annoying and over the top in this film. This is low budget, not done well. It drags. It's boring. I had little to no empathy for anybody except for the dad that gets killed in the first 5 minutes. And then after that, I really didn't care what happened to the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
I found them all over actors, annoying. Hey, man, you had the courage to put out a film. You got some pretty well-known people in this that are recognizable, but fuck, it was a grind. So bad that Scott doesn't remember it. And I only really cared about the first 10 minutes. So that tells you it's probably not the best movie.
Yeah,
and of course, it's only about for rent. So, sorry, go ahead.
And I was saying, as you're talking about it, it is ringing a bell with me more. And I'm like, okay, yep, I remember that. And I remember Shawnee Smith. And yeah, I like Shawnee Smith. Like, she's usually pretty decent. But, yeah, this was, just no.
Right. It was just not good. And, of course, it's only available for rent. Of course.
Another dumb movie is dumb. Avoid.
Yeah, we don't recommend. But I don't know. Like, there was somebody here that wrote a 4-star review. They must know who the fucking, like, they must be friends with the director. Yay, a true classic horror film. The cast and the storyline and camera shots just work to create a scary horror movie.
No.
Uh-huh. And who knew Tyrese was so good as a badass detective? Oh, yeah, Tyrese is in this film as well, everybody, as a detective.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He pushed the skeleton to the creepy level. The killer was close to Michael Myers type. Oh man, you better hope no
No.
fucking Halloween fans read that shit. You are going to
Oh
be living in
boy.
your own horror movie, my friend. Halloween fanboys are going to find you, and girls and people. Halloween fan
Right?
people. The mom makes you question what's wrong with her. What a cousin with a cousin wacky like Sam, you don't need enemies. She's nuts. Watch this. Definitely this is someone who is friends with the people that made this film. There
It
is no
seems like it.
way that this is a fair review, you know, and I get it. You want to promote your friend's film. My friend worked on this half star. That's really funny. Actually, some of these reviews, right? Most of the reviews are a half star, 1 star, 2 stars, half star. I will be kind and I will give it a 2 star because I think it takes a lot of effort to make a movie. I understood the plot. I could kind of follow along to what was going on, but it just didn't deliver for me. So I wouldn't go on the letterbox and berate it, but I just would say unless you're someone who really likes watching indie horror and likes to learn from other people's filming, this probably isn't a film for you.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that's why I gave it a 2.5 star because it was just so middle of the road. I forgot, I forgot everything about it. It wasn't offensive to where I remembered anything about it, so that's why it's
Mm-hmm.
just 2.5. It's just right in the middle in the forget pile.
In the forget pile. Yeah.
But
But this next one you saw.
yeah, so the next one, did you watch it too?
I sure did.
All right, so yeah, the next one is Founders Day. It's got a 107-minute runtime, and it says the tagline is "Changes here. A small town is shaken by a series of ominous killings in the days leading up to a heated mayoral election." This is your basic slashy, stabby, stabby slasher film. I had fun with this. I didn't think it was absolutely incredible, but this was, kind of gave me 90s slasher vibes along the lines like I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, where it's
Mm-hmm.
where it's just fun and easy to watch. And I can't remember if the kills were on screen or not at this point, but I remember there being a
Yes.
decent amount of blood.
Some were. Yes.
I was like, yeah, I
The
remember there being.
movie theater was. And the young lady goes to
Yes.
the movie
Yep.
theater.
But yeah, I found this just to be quite enjoyable, though I did see the partial twist coming.
Yes. Yes. I thought it was kind of obvious at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But yeah, it was just
Yeah,
fun.
I thought it was fun too. And I think your analogy back to it being like a 90s slasher is perfect here. Like if this came out in the 90s, we would be like, it's like the realms of Cherry Falls. Like how Cherry Falls came out and like it's kind of talked about by horror fans, but I would say if you ask the average person, name a slasher from the 90s, they wouldn't say Cherry Falls. Right?
Right.
Or like 2000s. I can't remember that came out. 90s, early 2000s. Bottom line is you wouldn't say Cherry Falls. Or there's some other slashers that came out during that time that like horror fans may mention, but like most people would be like, oh, I know what you did last summer, or I know what you did last summer still, or whatever. I still know what you did last summer, or Scream, or stuff like that. People would probably remember more than they're going to remember other films. This is like that. This is another one that I don't know how to say this. It's like the B version of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right. So it was entertaining though. I agree with you. And I was invested in some of the characters. And to be honest, I was upset when some of the characters got knocked off really early on. There were a couple of characters that got killed that I was like, oh, I thought you were a main character.
Yep.
Oh,
Same.
okay. I guess you're not. I
Yeah,
guess
it actually had like a
right.
decent, likable cast of characters.
Right. And I thought there was some good red herrings in this.
Yes.
I found it enjoyable. I don't think it overstayed its welcome. Overall, I would say an enjoyable slasher. I agree with your 3.5 star rating. I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was steady. It was good. Would I watch it again? Yeah, probably. If I'm just feeling nostalgic for basic bare bones slasher that's entertaining enough, sure, why not? I put it on.
Yep,
I like
same.
teenage shit like this. I like that though. Like I like when teenagers are in peril and they're trying to figure it out, and I dig that shit. It's
Yeah,
my jam.
and I like the whole political angle of the mayor
Yeah.
dueling mayors and all that stuff too.
Yeah, like it was well done. I think it's worth a rental. I don't think it's a $10.99 rental, but I could see $5.99, $4.99 if slashers are your thing. Check it out.
Yep, I completely agree. Definitely worth a rental.
And it's on all of the rental sites like Apple, Google, Vudu, YouTube, Microsoft Store. Like if you're interested in renting, it's everywhere. And if what we said sounds like it's appealing to you, watch it. If you're watching it just to like be like, oh, I only want to watch ones that will be on my top 20. I don't know if this will be on your top 20, but I do think it's enjoyable.
Yeah. And yes, I think the next one is You.
Oh yes, this one definitely tricked me. It was a trickster. Yeah.
Tricksy little hobbits.
Tricksy little hobbitses. So this is called Possessions. It's a 90-minute runtime. And to give you an idea how bad this was, George came home to me watching the last half an hour. And he was sitting there watching it, and he was like, how much more of this movie's left? I said, look, I can shut it off. He's like, no, just finish it and put it out of its misery or something like that. Like, it was that. Like, so anyway, this movie follows a father who seeks a fresh start with his son after the loss of his wife. He purchases a storage unit facility, sights unseen, but secrets buried among the metal doors become a parent's worst nightmare. You can take a guess what this film's about. The key word is possessions. So one would assume someone is going to be possessed. So it's a possession movie, and it's based in a storage unit. And I will say the plot sounds really interesting. Something we really haven't seen before. Something that is quite creepy because there are these storage units and you don't know what's inside of them, and anything could be stored and who knows what could be unreleased. The storage unit they're referring to in this is owned by a church that has been abandoned for obvious reasons. There's bad things in the storage unit, but you don't see much. And it's really kind of built on cutaway scenes and kid acting weird, like riding his bike around in circles, and dad being confused, and a lot of like something's gonna happen and they cut away the scene and they come back and the person's dead. There's a really dodgy psychologist in this one too. We could also make this the year of dodgy like things that would never happen in a therapy appointment, brought to you by 2024 horror films. Like honestly, we could probably do that about how unrealistic these therapy sessions are. Between imaginary and this film, we would have like many things that we could say that a child psychologist would never do. So it was a tough watch. I really thought it was going to be something much better than it actually was. Again, out of all of our friends or podcasting people, I'm the only one that's watched it. There's no other reviews. I'm going to give it a 2 stars. I have a hard time recommending this one unless you're Jason Gray. And I say Jason Gray because Jason, I think, enjoys low budget films. I think he can look at it from a different lens, and that's where his interest is. But besides someone like that, I really don't think it's something that people should be running out to see. Maybe Dave Bailey. I think Dave could sit through this and kind of like give it a fair analysis too, because he also enjoys low budget films. But like, and I don't mean this at a dig of Matt Wood or Tim Davis or anyone like that, but I think everyone else would just be fucking bored to tears. Like, I think they'd be like, this is boring. And I'd be like, yeah, it is fucking boring. Like, it is. So unless you're watching it from different angles of like a low budget film, how did they do this? Then I think that's great. But great concept, should have been a short. You know what? Should have been a fucking short. That's what we're back. What we talked about in January. This was a great concept. It should have been a short film.
Yep, there's a lot of those films that should be paying attention to that.
Right? If they had done this as a short, guaranteed they could have gone into some film festivals. He probably would have, the director probably could have got some notice, and he probably could have built his, like, what's the word I want to say? Like, built his resume or his CV or whatever. But because this is such a drawn out film that's really not that good, I think it's going to be quite forgettable. So.
And yeah, I'm not even gonna bother with this one. Doesn't even sound
like God, no. Don't. You'll be bored. You'll be so bored. Like, you'll be like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's just not. Again, should have been a short. 14 minutes would have been a great time frame for this film, or 20 minutes in an anthology.
Okay,
Would have been
wow.
great. Would have been great. And then you know what? Could have been built on later on, but it just did not hammer it home. It was not a good movie.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I will avoid that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the next one is one that I definitely recommend to a lot of people. So this is Abigail, with a 109-minute runtime, directed by the guys that did Ready or Not, and I believe Scream 5 and Scream 6, if I remember correctly.
I think
Um,
so, yeah.
I think they're like Radio Silent is their group name.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You nailed all of them. And they did VHS. They had something in VHS, and they did Southbound.
oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
So the tagline to this one is "Children can be such monsters." After a group of would-be criminals kidnap the 12-year-old ballerina daughter of a powerful underworld figure, all they have to do to collect a $50 million ransom is watch the girl overnight in an isolated mansion. The captors start to dwindle one by one, and they discover to their mounting horror that they are locked inside with no normal little girl. And holy shit, this movie was a ton of freaking fun. It was super gory. Had a lot of recognizable actors. Dan Stevens
Mm-hmm.
is one of them. And Catherine Newton I recognized. Oh, and Melissa Barrera from Scream 5 and 6 as well.
Yep. Yep.
But I have to say the little girl that played Abigail was so freaking good in this and
Mm-hmm.
so just fun and mean at the same time.
She was a standout, to be honest with you.
Oh, she absolutely was. Like
Right.
this movie flew by for me. It's 109 minutes, but it flew by.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had such a blast with this one.
I think this is top 10 material. I'm going to say
Yeah.
it right now. I think this is one that I don't see people talking about as much. I do see that it has been watched by some folks. Duncan has watched it. You have watched it. Brandon Young has watched it, who I think still podcasts. Dave Bailey has watched it, given it 4 stars. Rob Humphrey. So I guess someone has watched it. Only gave it 3 stars, but that's pretty good for Rob. A 3-star from Rob is like a 5-star from anybody else, right?
Right, exactly.
Right. I'm 5 on this. I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought it was great. Great fucking
Yep.
movie.
I was a 4, and it just went up to a 4.5 recently on my second watch because I had
Nice.
watched it the night that I had proposed to Erica, but we had so much going on, we weren't really giving it a lot of attention. So I ended up rewatching it while I was at work the next couple days later, and
Nice.
yeah, I fucking loved this movie. It was so much fun.
And if you didn't know the premise already kind of going into it, like it's good. And the gore in it and the blood in it, and because I kind of feel those are separate. There was a lot of blood at times, which I thought was done really well.
Mhm.
I don't know. This was a great film. As you're right, it moved, it was paced well, it was simple, it was clear, it wasn't overly complicated, and it did what it needed to do.
Yep, and I was gonna say,
Right?
it didn't take itself seriously, kind of like Ready or Not, where it didn't take
Yes.
itself full on serious. It had a little bit of comedy to it, and but yeah, because obviously some of these characters were just bumbling idiots, which has made it even more entertaining.
100%. Like, I this must have been released in theaters, or I don't know why Shudder didn't pick this up. I don't know why. Maybe they couldn't afford
Yeah,
it. I don't
this
know.
was in theaters.
Was it in theaters? Okay.
Yes.
So it is now available on Amazon, Apple TV, Google, both Amazons Canada and America, and Microsoft Store. It's worth the rental. Rent this movie. You will like this movie. I don't know. If you're a horror fan, you'll like this movie. End of
Yeah,
story.
100%. Yeah.
Like, this isn't like, well, if you like this kind of thing or you like that kind of, no, like if you like horror movies, you'll like this.
Yeah,
And
this is just I don't see anybody really hating on this. Tammy was the only one on my reviews that was not a fan, and she just goes, her review was 2.5 stars and said was just not for me, I guess, which is fair.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? And things can't be for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Right. But I'll take Tammy's 2.5 stars. I think that's at least a fair rating. That if it wasn't for her, but she's still giving it that, she enjoyed it enough, right?
Exactly.
Oh man.
You were scraping the bottle of the barrel, weren't you?
I know. I got bamboozled again, but I got bamboozled because J.K. Simmons was in this film as one of the actors.
Yes, this is what I was curious about. The trailer looked interesting.
His daughter was also in this as well, Olivia Simmons, in a secondary role, which I'm pretty sure that was the only reason he agreed to this movie, was he's like, you got to put my daughter in it. You can't run forever. This is a 102-minute runtime. Don't look back. A teenage girl suffering from anxiety due to a tragic event from her past finds herself hunted through the woods by a sociopath on a murderous rampage. J.K. Simmons plays the antagonist. I am spoiling nothing here. You figure that out in literally the first 30 seconds of this film.
And it's in the trailer.
And it's in the trailer. He is the antagonist. He's great. He's a fucking dick. There's no other way around it. He's ruthless. The backstory of why he's doing what he's doing is pretty weak, to be honest with you. Like, it's bad. It's a stupid backstory. But he's great. The young lady that's in this, Isabella Ananai, I probably didn't say that right. She's only been in 2 films. She's good. She was great. She was really, really good actress. You bought into her fear. You bought into her anxiety. She was fabulous. The writing in this was a fucking chore to watch. There's so many dumb conversations. Like, there's one part where Miranda is a teenager on the run. Her mom calls the killer, who ends up, and I won't go into the detail of how she has his call, but basically she figures out how to get in contact with him, which is ridiculous, and is begging him to stay away from her daughter. And I don't know who wrote this, but it was painful to listen to. It just made no sense. It's like when you talked about that World movie, the one about the couples about the economy. I felt it was very similar, just not as bad as that. And it dragged. This movie dragged. It started off with such potential, and it just got dumber, and it got ridiculous, and it got silly. And if it wasn't for J.K. Simmons being in this film and carrying it along with the young lady that plays Miranda, it would have been a 1 star.
Damn, that is a shame.
Or a half star. Like, that's how bad it was written. But because it's J.K. Simmons, and he's an excellent actor, and he can make you believe, even in the shittiest dialogue, he can deliver it, which he does, it was tolerable. But I put this at no higher than a 2 star.
Oh, wow.
And a big disappointment. His daughter's fine. I think she's she has a secondary role in this, and I think she's fine. I hope she gets more acting gigs. Like, I don't think I think her dad's coached her and supported her, and I think she has possibly a future in acting. And hopefully this movie gave her some of that time to flex out those skills. But this movie was so stupid. It was so stupid. It was plot hole galore. Like, if you and Erica, like, this was quicksand quality galore. Plot holes.
Oh, God.
Like, that's how many plot holes were in this. Like, it's quicksand, and what was that other one that we watched in Australia?
Outback?
Outback. It was that bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I kind of want to watch it now that you compare it to those two.
You can definitely watch it for J.K. Simmons. Like, you like J.K. Simmons? You're a J.K. Simmons, like, big fan? I think you'll enjoy him in this because he's great. He's a great asshole badass. You'll hate him. You'll think he's a piece of shit. And you'll be amazed at what a good actor can work with shitty dialogue.
Oh, damn. Because, the trailer made it look like it was going to be pretty good.
Oh, I know. I got bamboozled. So,
yeah.
Bamboozled. So this is available for rent on iTunes, Google, Cineplex Store in Canada, Microsoft Store, and YouTube. Unless you're a real big J.K. Simmons fan, or you're going to hate watch it like Scott's going to because we have a screener, then I really don't recommend this one at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's very disappointing, to say the minimum.
Yeah, this is this one I might have to watch with Erica just so I can watch her lose her shit.
Oh, she'll lose her shit. Like, I'm going to tell you right now.
And it's so fun.
Heather says it's so good. Like, it's just really, like, edge of your seat. And then when you get halfway through, because you'll know what the part that it really turns. Like, the first act, you're like, oh, fuck, this is good. Yeah, I am invested. And then it gets real stupid. When it gets there, I want you to be like, yeah, Heather actually told me not to watch this, and I'm making you watch it.
Oh, I'm going to try this. Maybe tonight.
Yeah. Why not, right? And she'll be like, maybe Heather wants to marry me. And I'll be like, yeah. Hashtag Jill Scotty's girl.
and then I'll remind her she made us watch Quicksand.
That's right. You know what? She who knows what would happen here, right? Like, at least there she can say no. She can't say no to me. Exactly. No one says no to me. I'm like the new Saw movie. but I'm Jigsaw, but I just make people watch really bad horror movies, and then I just tell them they don't get it. Like
You
I
just
make
don't
them watch
get it.
like what was that Tower film? The Tower film I watched at the end of last year that was from France, and it was really political. Like really, even for me, I was like, this is too much. I just show people that film, and I'm like, you don't get it. Or I make Tim and Daniel watch Solo again because they're such pussies they couldn't handle it the first time. Did you hear their review on
I
Solo?
did. It was hilarious.
They were like whiners. They were like, "Oh, I hope no one's offended that we made everybody watch Solo because Heather made us watch it." They don't understand that now. They are premium professional podcasters.
I love that this is a thing.
Right. Honestly, though, it is a horrible movie. I felt so bad when he's like, Heather, this movie is horrible. I'm like, I know. I know. But
Yeah.
as I told him, I'm like, dude, I don't like it either. I think I agree with you. It's boring. Nothing fucking happens. It's gross. But people praise the fuck out of this film. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
listen to it, dude. And he did. And I'm glad he did on the podcast because he was like, yeah, there's people love it. People fucking love that. And a Serbian film. Like, I find a
Yeah.
Serbian film not as shocking. And like,
No.
I find it just fucking over the top, like glorification of sex. And we watched that years ago when we had consciences and feelings and emotions. Now we have none. But like, I don't know. I don't get why people love Solo. I don't get it.
Nope, I don't either.
Right.
But
More
let's
'cause
watch. What?
and more because it's boring,
Yeah, boring
right?
and then just gross and just nothing there.
Right. But this next one wasn't boring,
Oh
right?
fuck, no, it wasn't.
Oh
All
yeah.
right,
Tell
so the
us.
next one is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, directed by Adam Wingard. 115-minute runtime. Tagline is Rise Together or Fall Alone. Following their explosive showdown, Godzilla and Kong must reunite against a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. So, the trailer made it look so fucking ridiculous. And it is. It is 100% ridiculous, but it is so goddamn entertaining.
Oh
Like,
yeah, baby.
where a lot of people complained about all the previous Godzilla movies of way too much focus on the human elements and this and that and not really caring. This one has maybe a quarter of the film is maybe the human element, and the rest is fucking Kong, Godzilla, kaiju battling, and it is just insanely awesome, action-packed, freaking just yeah. If you loved Godzilla versus Kong, this is right up there with that one. It is just a blast all the way through. Like you get big old monkey action, you get big old lizard action, you get all the different kaiju in it, and yeah, just all around, just so much fun. Like there's plot holes galore or plot conveniences where you're just going, oh, that's convenient that happened, and that this exact thing is here at this exact moment that you can use it to enhance one of the creatures. Oh, that is totally convenient. But you know what? This movie knew it was ridiculous, and it fucking rolled with it, and I fucking rolled with it myself. It was one of those turn your brain off popcorn movies. So much fun. I cannot recommend this enough.
I loved the first one.
I know you did.
When at the end and they unite and he pulls back his head just in time before the robot Godzilla in the first one. I'm giving a spoiler for the first one. Everybody can calm their tits. And he shoots his laser down like he's about to kill him, but then Godzilla saves him. Makes me
Mhm.
emotional. And then they fight together. I'm serious. I almost cried during that scene.
And they kind of buddy up again for this one. So
I love it. I love it. I want them to work together I want them to have best friend bracelets and I want them to just be besties forever. So obviously you recommend it. Is it still in theaters?
no, I believe it might. Let me check Letterbox. It's not in theaters anymore, but my Letterbox doesn't show it. Oh, yep, there it is. It is now available to rent on Amazon, Apple, Google Play, Vudu. Yep, all those places.
Okay, nice.
And our good friend has it on his Plex.
Awesome. I may watch it. Watch it.
You and George need to watch this because you guys would have a blast.
I'll
with it.
torture him. Well, he didn't love the first one. I was all like,
Oh,
and then they became friends and they fought. He's like, Heather. I'm like, yeah, that's me. It's like how I loved Mortal Kombat. You know, Mortal Kombat came out like last year,
fuck
whatever
yeah.
it was, and I was like, fuck yeah. He's like, sure, we'll watch it. I'm like, Mortal Kombat. Like, I would just yell it all the time. Yeah, there's certain movies like I can't do superhero movies to save my life, but I can do that shit.
Right.
Right. So you watched this one, by the way. I didn't see this.
All right. So yeah, this was another one that was in theaters. And I think might still be in theaters because yeah, it's nowhere on. Doesn't have anywhere to watch it on Letterbox at the moment. But this is Boy Kills World. 110-minute runtime, directed by Moritz Moore. Stars Bill Skarsgård, Jessica Roth, who is Tim's favorite character named Tree in Happy Death Day. Who else was there? H. John Benjamin, which most people will recognize him as the voice of Archer and Bob from Bob's Burgers. So this is more a violent action comedy, but I just wanted to bring it up in here because it was once again another one of those movies where I had a lot of fun. The synopsis is: when his family is murdered, a deaf mute named Boy escapes to the jungle and is trained by a mysterious shaman to repress his childhood imagination and become an instrument of death. Yeah, this movie, I seen the trailer for it and I said, I cannot wait to see this. This looks so ridiculous and it's going to be so much fun. And I was not wrong. So, H. John Benjamin has such a recognizable voice as like Archer and Bob's from Bob's Burgers and several other characters that he's voice acted. Since this kid is deaf and mute, and Bill Skarsgård plays the adult version of this kid, but as the boy, he's deaf and mute. So H. John Benjamin is narrating his thoughts. Like it's
That's
his voice.
awesome.
It's the voice of his thoughts, and the voice. He picked up the voice from a video game character when he was a little kid. So that's the voice he hears in his head, and it's this character talking over, and it's just like a John Wick action style. Like so, it's just tons of action and some over the top gore sequences, and just this was just a fun block, another one of those shut your brain off, laugh and enjoy movies. Like it's just over the top, silly and gory. And I just wanted to bring it up real quick because like it's not going to be on the horror list because it's more action and comedy. But goddamn, this was fun.
But fuck all you. We do what we want here on Friday Nightmares. So
damn straight.
If Scott wants to talk about his movie, he can talk about his movie.
That's right. Don't you judge me.
Don't you judge me. So you recommend, is it on theaters right now or is it renting now?
I think it's still in theaters because it's not available to rent yet.
Oh, that's too bad.
But yeah, this is definitely a recommend.
That's all right. I wrote the wrong name of this for the next one. That's really funny.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, who watched this one? And I'm like, oh, that's me. I just wrote the wrong name.
Good job.
Anyway, so I'm just wondering, do you miss Uncorked?
Not really.
Do you miss Dark Asylum?
Oh, definitely not.
What would happen if they made a baby?
I would cry.
And they called it Deadly Swarm.
Oh, this is okay. I remember you talking about this one.
So here's the thing. When I walk into something that's uncorked and an asylum, I think it's just asylum. It's not Dark Asylum. It's just asylum.
Yeah, just asylum.
Yeah. I expect not great, but at least I know I'm going in there expecting not great. So, Deadly Swarm is a 2024 uncorked classic. A group of friends in dire need of cash find themselves at a scheduled medical trial retreat, which seems as an easy way to earn money, but quickly turns into the worst nightmare under the guise of harmless experiments run by the Dr. Feldman. They're about to face a horror they never imagined. Unbeknownst to them, Dr. Feldman has unleashed a new terror, a swarm of genetically engineered killer flies. An insatiable appetite for human blood. What do the reviews say? What the fuck was I even thinking?
Perfect.
Here's the deal. Okay, if you've been watching movies for a long time, like you're a professional premium podcaster like Scott and myself, you know when you're walking into a film like this, it's not going to be great, right? You're watching this because you're like, I want to see how bad it is. It's like Cocaine. What was it? Cocaine Cougar you watched?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Right? But didn't you like Cocaine Cougar?
No, I fucking hated it.
What was the one that you liked that was super low budget that you thought were so funny?
Slaughterhouse?
Slaughterhouse. That's what it was.
Yeah, Cocaine Cougar I gave a 0.
Okay, my bad. I couldn't remember which shit film was the one that you liked. This is what you would expect. It's cheesy effects. It's piss poor acting. It's a British film. So this
Of
was
course, you had to watch it then.
a B C British film that got picked up by Uncorked. It was basically I'm not quite sure. I think this doctor was trying to cure some disease, and then somehow he mutated flies, and then like there would be this like huge like fly flying around these people at a pool that was trying to kill them. It was really funny. I think
Oh
if you
boy.
enjoy cheesy creature feature films, I think you'll like this. If that's like your kind of
Okay.
your guilty pleasure, you know what I mean, then I think you'll enjoy this. But that is the only reason you should watch this movie. You should
Gotcha.
not
Okay.
watch this movie for any other reason. It is available. Oh, and it's an 81-minute runtime, so it is pretty quick. It's available through Apple, Google, Vudu, Google, all the usual suspects. Only watch this if this is your, cheesy B-level creature features are your thing. Then watch this. Otherwise, you can skip it.
Good to know. Like this may be another one I'll just throw on randomly at work then, because I do
Oh,
like those dumb creature features.
it's pretty dumb. So, yeah.
What would you give it as a rating?
Okay, like real rating, a
Like
half a
a
star.
oh boy.
But cheesy creature feature stupid film, 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Right? Like quality walking in here thinking you're gonna watch a really high quality film, you're gonna be really disappointed.
Right.
If you go in being like, oh, these are the production companies behind this, I know what this will be, then you'll be fine.
Okay. Good to know.
Right?
All right, so the next one you and I both watched, and this is the second Spider film to come out this year, and this one is
Yeah.
called Sting. It's got a 91-minute runtime. The tagline is "Your biggest fear just got bigger." After raising an unnervingly talented spider in secret, 12-year-old Charlotte must face the truth about her pet and fight for her family's survival. Now, since I did not watch Infested, I can't compare, but I have to say, when I realized right in the beginning of the movie, you see a meteor shooting down, and that's how the spider arrives. I'm going, okay, I know what type of movie we're in for now. And
Right.
I rolled with it. And once again, this is just one of those where I had a lot of fun with it. Props to this company, or props to this film for using a lot of practical effects.
Yes,
There was a
absolutely.
lot of prosthetics in this. Like I think they even made the spider, the big version of the spider was all prosthetic. At least it looked like it. And there were some quirky, fun characters like the daughter's grandmother, Helga, who
Yep.
I'm thinking suffers from dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah, something
I
like that. Yeah.
I found her to be adorable and hilarious.
Yes,
Um,
agreed.
but that character and then their Asian neighbor, the biologist, soon to be biologist,
Oh my
I
gosh,
like those
hilarious.
two. Yeah. But
Yes, agreed.
the other characters I didn't really care for. The stepdad ended up being kind of a dick.
I thought he was okay.
Like when he got angry, like I kind like some of the shit he did, I was just like, dude, like you're kind of like. But that's
Mm.
kind of the whole stepdad stepdaughter
Yeah.
situation that
So they
happens
were
in a lot of
supposed to
movies.
be close, though, right? Like they kind
Yes.
of indicated that they were close, but they were. Well, I don't know. She's a teenager.
Yeah.
Teenagers are assholes. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I didn't really care for the little girl. Like I thought she was.
Yeah, I found her annoying.
Yeah, she kind of reminded me of Becky from Becky, but not as you go girl, more just the shitty
Yeah,
part of Becky.
I would agree.
But even that, like some of the characters I didn't care for aside, like I still had a lot of fun with this movie. Like I gave this one a 4 out of 5. Like it was straight up enjoyable. Like I said, once I knew it was not full on serious, I was like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
on board.
I would agree with you. I think that's a perfect review of this film. I found it entertaining for what it was supposed to be at a, what is it, 91-minute runtime. It didn't overstay its welcome. Yeah, there's a lot of like, even the third act's a little over the top and silly, but I thought it was an easy watch, and I thought it was entertaining. And for some people this would be in their top 10 or top 20. I would say it's sitting near my top 20.
Yeah, I'll say this could be in my top 10 right now. I know it's Tammy gave it 5 stars because her and her son absolutely loved it when they seen it together.
Nice.
Um, But yeah, and one other thing I was gonna say is this was very predictable with a lot of things. Like I even knew how they were gonna defeat the spider at the end. Like I called it like right
Yeah.
when I seen like something I was going, the so and so of foreshadowing. I said that right then, and Erica's going, "Yep, you nailed it."
Yeah. Right. And and how they beat the spider was, and then like
The
the
end. Yeah,
ending
we
was
caught
very
that
kind of
too.
old school sci-fi kind
Uh
of
huh.
ending. Yeah, honestly, the more we talk about it, the more it moves up for me. It's definitely in my top 20, I think. When I think about it, I think what I
Nice.
watched this year, yeah, it's definitely my top 20. And it's a good film. I would say everyone should watch it. Like if you're a horror fan, you'll like this film. It's great. It's fun. It's good practical effects. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I There may be more characters that you like more than others, but
Hmm.
overall everyone was enjoyable.
Yeah, I was gonna say because like even like when there was the dynamic and chemistry between all the characters worked well,
Yeah,
whether they were
I would
against each
agree.
other or for each other, it all worked well together.
I agree. I agree. And I think it's available on all the streaming services, isn't it?
It's yeah available to rent on Google Play, Amazon, Apple, Vudu.
Okay, awesome. All the usual suspects. It's worth whatever money that you pay. So the last one I'll talk about, this is actually a silent film.
Oh,
In the sense that there's music, but there's no dialogue, and this is an Indonesian film.
really?
So what's interesting is that you actually watching this film, you don't need subtitles, but you do need to be watching it
Hmm.
because it's just there's no talking,
Right.
right? So
Interesting.
yeah, it's called Monster. It is available on Netflix. I really wanted to sneak it in because I'm like, it's a Netflix film. And we try to have variety on our podcast. We try to do something from Shudder, something from theater, something from VOD, something from Tubi, and then if Amazon Prime ever releases a fucking horror movie again. And then I thought this was on Netflix. I always check Netflix to try to watch something from Netflix so I can share. So the short synopsis is after being abducted and taken to an isolated house, a girl is set out to rescue her friend and escape from their malicious kidnapper. So basically, some kids are kidnapped. One of them is able to kind of remove themselves from the kidnapper and is now trying to save the other one.
Okay.
It's very similar. We saw something similar to this. Like there was one that was on Shudder a couple years ago about a young boy that breaks into a house and tries to save a kid that's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very similar. But I would say it's very, very good. And I think a lot of people will skip over it because there's no dialogue. Now there is music and there is stuff happening in the background and expressions and emotions, but you do have to be watching it to follow it.
Okay.
So I recommend it. I think it's a well-made fucking film. I think if you have Netflix, why not? But be aware that there's no dialogue. And I think a lot of the reviews here are lower because there isn't a dialogue. Oh, so they're referring to the US film. So the film I'm referring to is The Boy Behind the Door 2020 that we saw,
Yes.
the kidnapped one. I don't know, maybe it was inspired by that, but I do think it's different enough from that it doesn't really I don't think it's a remake or anything like that.
Right.
I don't know, it's a different setup.
Sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
It is. It's just it's hard for you to watch because
Yeah, kids.
I would say watch it at work, but you can't because you need to be
Right.
watching it. And then if the kids come in and interrupt you, you're going to be like, like you would have to, you and Erica would have to watch this on a night where the boys were out. So maybe
Right.
pin it. And then maybe if there's a time they go to their grandparents or something, watch this film.
All right, perfect. I will do that.
Right. I think you will enjoy it. So that's my last one. And that is on Netflix and is called Monster.
All right. So I will talk about this next one. Erica and I finally sat down to watch this one, and this is Lisa Frankenstein, which was directed.
I can't believe you did it.
You can't believe I did it.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to watch it.
Oh yeah, I was planning on watching this one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Erica and I seen the trailer and we thought this was like, oh, this could be cute and fun. It was directed by Robin Williams' daughter, Zelda Williams.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's got a 102-minute runtime. The tagline is, if you can't meet your perfect boyfriend, make him. In 1989, a misunderstood teenager has a high school crush who just happens to be a handsome corpse. Actually, that's not accurate at all. After a set of playfully horrific circumstances bring him back to life, the two embark on a murderous journey to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts along the way. So, Tim Davis gave this 3.5, and our good friend Rob Humphreys was saying this was the worst film of 2024. So I figured, okay, if Rob absolutely despised it, then I will probably be with Tim and Daniel on this one, with the 3.5. No,
Really?
we did not like this at all. It, for one, it was boring. Like I felt it just dragged way too long. I will say the acting is good. Like I'm curious to see what Zelda Williams does next because yeah, like directing wise, I think she did great. The set pieces are beautiful. It reminds me a lot of old school 80s style Tim Burton, where everything's just a bit exaggerated. Like the colors
Interesting.
pop more and everything's just kind of a little more, almost everything looks like a model in a way. So it's very well put together, very beautiful set pieces, great acting. The story and the characters are what bring this down for me. The story, I was hoping for romantic horror, for because I'm a softie for my romantic horror stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Lisa and her corpse boyfriend are not a good couple together. Like Lisa is just very cruel to him and just seems very narcissistic towards him and just kind of drags him along because she likes someone else and she's using him and just, like I didn't like her character at all. Like
Oh man.
and like yeah, I just didn't care for. And the dad was a bumbling idiot, which may have worked if it had a more lighthearted, funny tone to it, but it just I don't know. It felt like it was made to be played for laughs, but it really didn't hit that for me. And Eric and I both just said, "The fuck is this movie? What is it trying to be?"
That's pretty bad when you're both like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, like it just super disappointed because we were both thinking, "Oh, this will be a good like cutesy watch, like and it looks romantic and all that." No, there was no romance whatsoever. This was just bad. No, I couldn't get into it. Like I say, the only thing I could give it credit for was the acting, the set pieces, and the directing. But just didn't care for anything about the story or anything.
So should I skip it?
I almost want to say you should watch it because I'm curious to see if you'll have the same thoughts.
I probably will because I've avoided it because I thought it looked dumb.
Okay. Yeah, because I'd be curious.
Okay.
Yeah, I ended up only giving this 2 stars. Yeah, like at least Letterboxd 2 stars, so 4 out of 10 technically. Definitely not the worst 2024 like Rob says, but definitely not a 7 out of 10 like Tim says.
Well, Rob's not a professional premium podcaster like us,
true.
so
That's very.
You can't expect him to know what we know.
This is
You
fair.
haven't seen what we've seen, Rob.
You haven't put yourself through the hell that we put ourselves through.
You haven't watched The Deadly Swarm. How would you know what's out there? What's the one you watch? The World Ends or The Day the World Ends?
Yeah, The Day the World Ends or something. Oh, God.
You don't know, Rob. You don't know.
You don't know me. But
sorry.
I was gonna say it is available to rent on Amazon, Apple, Google Play, Vudu. Well, I wouldn't recommend renting it.
Well, you've sold it so hard. Right? So basically, don't watch this.
Yeah, I don't see many people really liking this one.
Well, that's fair. Unless you're premium professional podcasters, you don't need to watch this. Scott
true.
and I do that for you. With our clear professionalism that we have on this podcast.
Absolutely. Releasing episodes on time and all of that good stuff.
Yeah. And watching Solo to fall asleep. Well, Tim is upset. I put Solo on and snuggle into my blankets and they're like, is this act 3 of the shit eating? What part are we at?
My favorite.
Serbian film. Let me get to the part where they're all banging at the end. Absolutely. Snuggle in a little bit tighter. But yeah, these were our 2024s. We've done pretty good. We did good.
We did good.
It took a month, but that's what we watched.
Yeah.
And luckily I remember. I'm impressed that I remembered the cuckoo curse because I didn't think I was going to remember that, but
right.
I pulled it out. You know how that is.
Yeah, I pull it out all the time.
Right? Older watches. I'm excited. You go. I gotta hear.
All right.
This movie is, I hope you liked it, because if you didn't, I don't know what we're going to do.
All right, so we'll get into that.
Get into it.
So that the older watch, quote unquote, because it's not even available to rent yet. I don't believe. Yeah, it's not even available to rent yet. But came out short run last year. Just a little kaiju film by the name of Godzilla Minus One. No, I don't think many people have heard of it. But
No, I don't think so at all.
yeah, the tagline is post-war Japan from zero to minus. In post-war Japan, a new terror rises. Will the devastated people be able to survive, let alone fight back? That's a weird synopsis. All right. But yeah, so with all the hype this film has been getting and the love and praise, I've been very curious because I love me some Godzilla films, and I really did like this movie. Visually, this is fucking stunning for only $15 million budget. It got the Oscar award for a fucking reason. Godzilla looks incredible, and this is probably the most terrifying I have ever seen Godzilla. And that's coming from like seeing Gojira back in the day. Like Godzilla is scary as fuck in this. And I love the fact that they basically represent him as a nuclear bomb. Like just the way his breath attack happens and he's bringing radiation with him wherever he walks. And good God, that is absolutely terrifying. However, I did find the character driven story to be a bit blah. I didn't hate it. I just found it very predictable and just very been there, done that with a lot of movies. I just like some of it just didn't like it didn't register with me with that. Like I didn't hate it, but I also didn't see the character develop. Heather is shaking her head at me, which I know a lot of
I am so disappointed. Tim Davis, I don't support this. Okay. Friday Nightmares do not support the views of Scott Crawford right now.
I mean, don't
continue how you have no soul. I'm just curious.
Like, don't get me wrong. This is still an 8 out of 10 movie. Still great movie. But I just didn't dig the character-driven story as much as everybody else did.
That's okay.
I was more waiting for Godzilla to show back up again.
Yeah, I will say I did enjoy the scenes with Godzilla more than I enjoyed the human interactions. I agree to that. But I cannot say that I did not have the warm fuzzies of that relationship, especially at the end. As unrealistic as it was, you monster. I don't know how you can't be... Did Erica watch this?
Yes.
Put Erica on here. I hope she fought the fucking warm and fuzzies.
I don't know where she is at the moment.
That's okay. You don't have to really put her on there. It's okay. I know she's probably busy literally doing anything else but sitting in the room watching you podcast. So, did she at least feel for these characters since you don't have a heart?
I think she did. I think she felt a little bit like I did, but not to the extent that I did. Like she said, like, I think she liked the characters, but she did feel the whole been there, done that.
How is it? Can't give spoilers, but maybe one day we will. Tim Davis, if you want to come on to this show and correct Scott, I am happy to support you. All joking aside, obviously you and Eric are entitled to your opinion, but you enjoyed it at least. That's
yeah. It's one that if I can, whenever the fuck it comes out on physical release, I will have it in my collection because it's
okay.
It is a Godzilla film I will rewatch over and over again. Like where most people gave it a 9 or a 10, I gave it an 8.
Okay.
So it's like it just went down a little bit. Like, but no, this is still highly rewatchable. And like I said, Godzilla is the most fucking terrifying I've ever seen him. Like that is legit.
That's gonna be like Tim coming for you now. I hope you're prepared.
Oh,
you know that scene where she's on the train? That will be you. Tim's like now pushing through Detroit, trying to get to you. Right? Didn't you love though how he compared Godzilla -1 to Jaws? It's like everything in life he just compares to Jaws.
If he's worse than me with Jaws than I am with Gremlins. He finds a way to squeeze Jaws.
It's just like Jaws. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Honestly, and I'm pretty sure Jill's just like, yeah, baby, yeah, that's right. It's just like Jaws. It is. It's just like Jaws. Yeah.
Head on head.
Basically, same movie. Okay, now go make that awesome barbecue ribs, please, while we're at it, right? He make himself a good house husband, you know.
Oh, he does.
Right? So I watched Hammer films.
Ooh, boy.
I was away in England. I watched 2 Hammer films. I watched The Curse of Frankenstein, 1957, 83-minute runtime, with the great Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee,
Yes.
by the way. Plot twist. And I watched Dracula, 1958, with Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Uh-huh.
And that's it. I have nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, I have not seen Curse of Frankenstein, but Dracula 1958 was my 500th film I watched on 2020.
And you gave it 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
One of the few Hammer films that I really fucking loved.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed both for what they were.
All right.
I will say I'm not a big fan of 1950 films. We know this.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Christopher Lee or Peter Cushing. I respect them for what they did for that time. I respect their talents, and they were incredible actors.
I don't want to hear anymore. Nope. Your opinion's invalid now. Nope.
Look, that style of acting is dated. Their style does not make sense now. And I do like modern films a lot more. That being said, Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were incredible in both of these films.
Good to hear.
They played their characters well. They are endearing when they need to be endearing. They are scary when they need to be scary. They are all the things you expect. I loved the costume choices. I loved the settings. And they moved at a relatively quick enough pace for me, and I'm glad that I've seen where Hammer started, because for me, these films are hard to get through. They just don't hold my attention. But I will say, glad I watched them. It's excellent actors, and really, really did enjoy it.
Awesome. I'm glad you did. And it's actually kind of funny because funny that you brought these two movies up, because Peter Cushing's birthday is today.
I know.
Vincent Price and Christopher Lee's is tomorrow.
Right. It's all the old dead guys' birthdays right now. I know my friend Mark, when he listens back to this episode, who writes books on all of them, has a 3rd book coming out on Peter Cushing that will be released hopefully next year. He's a big Peter Cushing fan. So you can imagine how he feels with my opinions on Peter Cushing.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, all 3 of those I just mentioned are fucking legends.
They are, and well-deserved. Don't get me wrong, well-deserved. It's just not my thing. But I was able to appreciate the films for what they were.
And Heather, it's okay. You're allowed to have an opinion, even if it is wrong. No.
I know, even if I'm wrong. But look, now we're moving into book club.
Oh, shit. Yes, we are. All right.
So got some books to talk about.
Yeah, I'll do these quickly because these ones were both audiobooks that I finished while you were away. And I'm still working on my physical book that I'm reading right now, and I was going to save that till I'm done. Okay. So the first book I want to bring up is by, I think both these were done by indie authors, but the first one is called Beta, A Technological Nightmare. And this one the plot is very simplistic, and we'll all know what to expect when I tell you about it, but it's basically about a person who ends up volunteering for this beta test of a smart house.
Oh boy.
And yeah. However, as soon as I heard that, I'm going, okay, is this going to be like the movies that we've seen a million times over at this point? And yes and no. There ends up being kind of a nice twist that I did not see coming that ends up adding to this story to a degree that was actually going to be, this is one of those that's going to be in my top 10 favorite books of the year. This turned out to be really fucking good.
Oh.
Like, this is a book that I highly recommend. Like, it's that sci-fi horror style with not a lot of like horrific things, but at the same time, a lot of twists and turns where I'm going, oh shit, I did not see this coming. Okay. And this is blending into this. Like, because there's like 2 different stories going on in this book. One's about an author, and one's about this guy that's living in this beta tested house. And it all ties together towards like 3/4 of the way through, and you're going, oh, I did not see that fucking coming. That's cool.
I love it.
Like, the characters were all very likable and like enjoyable. This was really well written. And I want to look up the author's name because I want to see what else he has done, like to read later. let's see. Sammy Scott is the author's name. So yeah, I want to look up more of his work down the road. And then the other book that I did the audiobook version of is called Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. And this one is about an indigenous mythological creature that is out in this couple get recently engaged and go to a cabin in the like in Colorado out in the mountains. And during a snowstorm, they start hearing what at first sounds like animalistic yelping and scream, like howling and screaming like out in the woods that soon almost sound like animalistic humans and then soon sounds more and more human, and it ends up being like this mythological creature that's in indigenous folklore that basically attaches itself to this couple to where it even when they get away from the cabin to get back home, it ends up following them and is like basically tormenting them and haunting them and possessing them and this like things like that throughout like while they're back in California. And it's super fucking creepy. Like another one that may be in my top 10 at the end of the year, because yeah, this was just once again another indie author. I will say I was not a fan of the narrator for the audiobook.
Yeah, sometimes the narrators are hard to listen to.
Yeah, like he made it hard to listen to this book, but like I forced myself to follow because he did do some inflections that I don't normally hear other narrators do, which I thought was really cool.
Okay.
But at other times he didn't, and it was very what is the term? Unbalanced in a way.
Fair enough.
Like, it's like he didn't stick with it for some points. But either way, though, I want to buy the actual physical copy of this book because, yeah, this one will legit creep me out in moments. Like, it had some really, really cool ideas. And, like, once again, this guy, the Felix Blackwell, actually even talked about how he delved into, like, the indigenous folklore and wanted to make sure he represented indigenous people properly. So he did all this research and yeah, I think he did an incredible job. Like this was just a really good, creepy book. Another one that I definitely recommend.
Well, you're really giving out a lot of suggestions. I'm impressed how much you've got through.
Yeah, like I'll have probably at least two more by next recording.
Well, I'm listening to an audiobook too, but it's not, I don't know, it's kind of real life horror. It's called The Chaos Machine by Max Fisher. And it basically talks about how, like, basically social media and algorithms are creating hate and turning people against each other and exaggerating leftism and then exaggerating rightism, and like how everything is just one big fucking mess. And like some of the stories are really fucking upsetting. Like people's lives being destroyed because they made a mistake, or people lie about something, or they misrepresent something and people lose their jobs. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it's called The Chaos Machine: The Inside Story of How Social Media Rewires Our Mind and Our World by Max Fisher. He's definitely, I would say, middle. He's not a far right. Like there's far things like, okay, he's clearly not a fan of Donald Trump. So if you're a fan of Donald Trump, then maybe this is not the book for you, because he has issues with how Donald Trump has shared certain opinions on social media platforms.
Makes sense.
Which I think is fair. I think even extreme right, or the people that consider themselves a conservative, would still have issues with some of the things he has said. But he is just as critical of the far left as well. So there's some far left people that I am not familiar with, that he has brought up, and critiqued some of the things that they have presented as well. So it is interesting, and it's not really horror, I guess, unless you count societal horror on how like hate is being bred. And I'm sure there's some kind of horror movie that could be based off of it. There kind of already is, with like social media, like Unfriended and shit like that. You know, I guess you could argue that that does fall into that category. But yeah, that's the audiobook I'm listening to right now.
Yeah, that sounds actually pretty fascinating. I'm adding it to my wish list on Audible right now.
I wish you could share. Like when a book's in your library, I should be able, like, even if the loan to a friend is only for like, let's say 30 days. If I pay for the book, I should be able to loan it to you.
Yes, I think that would be really nice if you could do that.
Right, because if I buy a book, I could physically give it to you to read.
Right.
What's the difference?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the same thing with like all digital media.
Right? Like okay, fine, you put a 2-week limit on it. Okay. So like you have to listen to it within those 2 weeks.
Right.
Right. But like I still don't get why you're on Audible, I am, Amber is, why can't the three of us share books?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like why couldn't, we do that? But why do you have to buy it?
Yeah,
Right?
and I was gonna say, because I got my Audible library is massive. I got 235 titles in mine right now.
Right. So like and it's not like I'm going to, and what if I like it and then I decide to buy it for my own collection?
Right.
Instead of I listen to a sample, I don't like it and I don't buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, wouldn't you rather take the chance that, yes, I may listen to it for free, and yes, you're going to get people that just swap you all the time, but you're also going to get people that are, I don't know. Like, put a limit on it if you need to do whatever. But I think if I own a book, which I do on my library, because I've canceled my Audible membership, I've totally fucked around with it at times. And I still have those books in my library. I still have Prince Harry's Spare book, which I could not get through. I got to chapter 4 and I was like, I cannot take this anymore. This guy's fucking privilege and like his whining about, like, I'm not discrediting that he wasn't treated poorly and neither was his wife. Absolutely. I think there was behaviors that happened towards her that is absolutely disgusting, shouldn't have occurred. But like, it was a really like, oh man, my life has sucked.
Right.
It's been so hard. And I'm like, dude, you had all the money and the privileges in the world. And like, I don't want to listen to you whine for another couple hours. It's just too much for me.
Well, and
right.
And I agree though, like with say subscription services, like say Audible, where we're paying monthly. So if you are sharing with another member that pays monthly, I don't see the big deal because like they also have a credit that they could eventually use it to buy that if they wanted.
Right. Well, I guess I look at it like I own the book. If I own the book, I should be able to share it with you like I would with like a physical copy book, right?
Yeah.
Because there's lots of people who I've given a book to be like, hey, do you like it? And honestly, if I like a book enough, I'll buy it.
Right. And I'll say, because I'd be doing the same thing with Erica. I'd be sharing a bunch of my books with her she has Audible as well.
Right. Like we could all do sharesies and imagine we could listen to it. And even if I like listened to a little bit of it and I was like, oh shit, I won't be able to listen to this within the 2 weeks. But man, I really fucking like it. I think I'll buy it.
Right.
Like put a limit on it if you need to, that person has access to it, that you share it with. And then Audible, if you're listening to our podcast here at the Friday Nightmares, this is what we would like.
Right. We demand it.
Right. I will say, out of all the subscription services I pay for, no matter how much I complain about some of the films on there, Shudder is still the best bang for my buck.
Oh, yeah.
It's still the most reasonably priced.
Yep. Still to this day, because it's the only one that hasn't like fucking tried gouging you left and right.
No, Netflix. And I think I pay we're looking at you, Netflix. I think I pay out of all the streaming services I pay for, because I literally have Paramount, Crave's big up here, which is HBO and all that other shit, Netflix. I basically have everything but Disney Plus, basically, that's available in Canada. And Shudder is the cheapest, and I use it the most. Now that's me, obviously, like in the household, like George uses Paramount and stuff like that, but I find Shudder like the best. I don't know. I go into Shudder and there's always something. And I do love when they pull out like random fucking films. Like I watched this one called Elevator the other day and it was okay. But I never would have heard of it if it wasn't for Shudder. Like that's kind of how I look at Shudder.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Right. So, when you got haters like Matt Wood, who just hate on Shudder. I'm just kidding. That's actually signed back up for Shudder. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought this book segment, because I think it gives people another outlet to consume horror media.
Yeah, I figure it was something new that we hadn't really ever discussed. So I was like, yeah, this is something that'd be worthwhile talking about.
Right. Yeah. And we're all just about talking about worthwhile things here on Friday Nightmares.
Damn straight we are.
And so the reason why I made Tim watch Solo, he didn't announce this. He did read I forced him to read a statement from me, because he presents me as an evil person. Basically, he presents me like I'm part of the elite in Solo. Basically, that's how he presents me on that podcast. I'm sure people who don't know me think I'm not a nice person, which I'm not all the time, but most of the time I can be. The reason I did that is because he was being so mean about me. I upped my Patreon so I could make him watch Solo.
I remember that.
Kidding. I went to a higher tier because I was like, oh yeah, Tim? And tier was and I quote, make Tim watch any film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh yeah, Tim, you want to fuck with me? $7 a month. All right, Tim. My film is 120 Days of Sodom. And he's like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, motherfucker, really. And then they add Serbian film as an added bonus. So that's how that came to be. If we have any joint listeners, that's how that happened.
I loved it.
It's fun. You should harass them too. We should all bully each other.
Exactly. It's
Right?
fun bullying our friends.
It's fun being mean. We're just kidding. Please listen to Dummies of Horror and their excellent new show, Devour the 80s, and all the other things. And please join their Patreon because they do rock. Same with Slasher Radio. Same with the Horror Returns. Same with the Exploding Moving Head. The Exploding Heads. No,
Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast.
Horror Movie Podcast. Thank you. Yeah, all of them. Listen to
Much
Matt.
love to them all. Yeah.
Right.
Eternal Darkness and the Not So Spotless Mind podcast. Give them a listen.
And Matt Wood's DJing. He has like an online DJing thing he does, like a radio station.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because he's basically Calvin Harris. Only he's like he's like the asylum version of Calvin Harris.
Only he's the sexy Matt Wood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he gives everyone woods. But
Damn
we'll
right
be back. We'll be back again. We got some more movies to watch. That tarot one that came out looks like it's prime for my watching that I'm looking for. Fuck yeah, it is.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see what else comes out. This New Strangers, the prequel.
Another remake, prequel.
I get the vibe it's a prequel because I think they say how it started or something like that.
Yeah, but it apparently is a shot-for-shot remake.
Oh,
like
that's
it's
a shame.
damn near the exact same movie from what I've been hearing.
Oh,
just not as good. And it's
Someone
supposed to be
said
a
it's not as good. Who said it's not as good?
A lot of people are saying it's not good.
Oh, yeah, I saw Mark Nato blasted it.
Mark Nato blasted it. Rob blasted it. A lot of the podcasters I follow were blasting it, saying it's just a waste of time.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. Oh, man, do you hear that?
Oh, I do. But I mean, I didn't expect much because it's directed by Rennie Harland, who I think did Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Master Part 4.
Oh, well, that's a pretty big masterpiece right there.
Uh-huh.
Remember the bandana scene? You just watched them all recently. She's like, that's pictures of her friends covering up the mirror. No, she's uncovering the mirror, isn't she?
Yep, uncovering
so she can see herself, and then like he pulls her into the mirror or something like that. Is that what happens?
She karate kicks her way into the mirror.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because she gains her brother's karate skills.
Yeah, right. He also becomes Karate Kid. So what you're saying is that this movie isn't set up for success, is what I hear you saying.
No, and it's apparently a trilogy, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, man. Hey, we got Nosferatu to look forward to later this year.
Yes, yes, we do.
Right? So which will be everybody's number one. Do you want to put money on it right now?
I don't know. There's a lot of people.
Going to be Nosferatu.
There's a lot of people that are also saying like this should not be made. What's the point of a Nosferatu movie at this point? But I'm going as Robert Eggers. Count me in.
I'll tell you one thing. I'd rather take that than The Strangers being remade.
Right.
Or the other one that's being remade. Fuck, I wish I could. Don't Speak?
Yeah.
Or Speak No Evil?
Yeah, Speak No Evil. Yes, there we are.
Speak No Evil. Yeah, like, I'd rather see that not be remade so soon. I don't understand why that needs to be remade at all.
Because people can't read subtitles, apparently.
Like, and I feel like I've already seen the trailer for it. I'm like, this is so over sensationalized compared to what the first one was, like the original. Mm-hmm. Like, there's over top violence and like that's not what the first one was. The first one the original gave you the feeling that this could happen.
Yeah,
I know Tim was really angry. Remember how mad he was about that one?
Oh yeah, because the parents were stupid.
They were, and it's also a saying on being overly polite, right? Like, in that culture, being overly polite, right? So I get it. See, that's the problem. You Americans are fucking dicks, and that would never happen because then you're polite.
That's true. So it must be a Canadian couple that goes over there.
It probably is. It must be a Canadian couple, and they're like, "Hey, it's me. Actually, it's me.
Hey, where's the maple syrup, eh?"
Right. Well, we are proud members of the Legion Podcast Network, who I don't know if they have a Patreon anymore. My payment didn't go through, but all my other payments.
There is I got an email from Kevin from Legion. Apparently, yes. So there is we are in the process. Well, this is the last I heard, I think last weekend, in the process of switching servers. So, because the website that was hosting us all of a sudden skyrocketed their prices.
Okay.
So we are in the process of changing servers. So a lot of that stuff may be down for a little while till it gets all sorted out.
Okay, that makes sense. So no long because I was like, why did Leeching Pod Patreon bounce back? All my other payments went through. I'm basically supporting Tim and his kids with my Patreon payment now. The Canadian dollar is actually worth more than the Australian dollar. It's one of the few countries. So
Right.
I was like, what the fuck's going on here? It's them and the horror returns that I continue to support via Patreon. So I was wondering what happened to Legion. I'm glad that you got an email. I didn't get an email. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because you're the man, and
Well, it's
that's
because
why.
he knows it's because I'm the one that edits and releases the episode, and
Oh,
he needed some login information for Podbean but I had to send him over to Jerry Herring for that.
well, I think it's just because you're the man, and that's how he
Well, I,
feels, and
I
he's
am
sexist.
I am the smoke show. Remember that.
Oh, it's true. You are. He's like, oh, a woman. I should just go to Sky. Just kidding, Kevin. I don't think you listen to
Uh,
this show, but if you do, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But that explains it. So no, so we can't do. What are you waiting for to join the Legion Patreon?
just wait for us. Just wait for us. We'll be back at some point. Just wait.
I guess follow us on YouTube in the meantime.
Yep, follow
I
us on
believe he
YouTube.
uploads the shows, Spotify.
Yep, Spotify, all the places where podcasts can be found. Like you can still hear our episodes, but yeah, it's just everything's just slowly getting transferred over. So I
Yeah.
think all the newest stuff's getting transferred over right away, and the backlogged stuff might take a little while.
All right. Well, it's good to know. But yeah, in the meantime, oh wow, this changes everything. I'm so thrown off.
I know, right?
96 episodes later, we weren't promoting Patreon at the beginning, but we eventually did, and it's been a while.
Wow.
All right. So I guess check us out next time. Hopefully Scott releases this episode before the end of June. Just for context, we're recording this on May. What's today?
26th.
May 26, 2024. I better give the year just to be sure.
Now I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna get because people don't know this part, but yeah, I lost power earlier this week at this house on my vacation, and when the power outage struck, it blew out two of my plug outlets that my computer is all hooked into. So I am using my laptop at the moment, and my laptop does not have any of my editing software, so hopefully I get all the software up on the laptop and I can get it edited fairly quick. But if not, I'm going to have to rearrange where my computer is and try editing from there.
So stay tuned, everyone. If you hear this episode at the end of June, you're like, wow, these movies are really old. It's just because God hates Scott and turned the power off to his house.
Don't worry, folks. The power's back on. It was just a massive tree branch fell and ripped out our power lines.
Oh, like Final Destination. That's
Very
what
close
happened.
to it. Yeah, 'cause I was in the backyard right before that happened, so I could have been struck by that freaking tree.
And Devin Sawa showed up, and Scott was like, "What's Devin Sawa doing here?"
Actually, if Devin Sawa showed up, I'd be like, fuck, death's after me now.
Fuck my life. But yeah, in the meantime, folks, I'll take care. We look forward to being back again whenever Scott gets his editing stuff up and rolling, and keep watching them horror movies. We'll keep bringing them out. We're going to be heading to episode 97. Slow, chug a lug to 100. And then I don't know. We'll eventually announce what we're going to do for 100. We'll see if we're going to keep with our plans or what we're going to do. Scott and I don't know. That's probably 3 months away, but at the rate we've been recording and releasing episodes. So when we get there, we get there.
Exactly.
When we get there, we get there. But thanks always for listening. And do you have anything to say to good people, Scotty?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you for supporting us as always. And please feel free to continue giving me shit about releasing shit late. That's just how I be now. It's my life, and I love it. I love you all, and we will continue it. But until next time, kiddies, unpleasant dreams.
See ya.